Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, cops identify men killed in Negril operation. 3 of the 4 men who were shot dead in an alleged confrontation with members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force in Negril Square, Westmoreland on Friday have been identified. The police said 6 other persons, including one of the men who was shot and injured in the confrontation, have been taken into custody. That man is from Greenville in Manchester. Among the deceased is a 34-year-old Nicolai De Levante from Waterford in Portmore, St. Catherine. De Levante was out on $200,000 bail for the shooting of a police inspector in Old Harbour, St. Catherine last year. He was also charged for robbing an ATM last year. The other men are 37-year-old Caval Smith from Cave District and Ann Carvin Center Forest, 29, from Geneva District in Grange Hill, both in Westmoreland. The police said 2 M16, 1 AK-47 assault rifle, 2 pistols, and a revolver were seized from the men following the confrontation. The police also seized 57.62 rounds used in AK-47s, 65 5.56 rounds used in M16s, 45 9mm rounds, 5.38 rounds, 3 M16, and 2 AK-47 and 2 9mm magazines. Reports were that between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., the police, acting on intelligence, intercepted multiple vehicles, resulting in a shootout. None of the lawmen were injured in the incident. Police constable injured attempting to foil murder in Clarendon. A police officer attached to the Clarendon Police Division has been hospitalized following gunshot injuries sustained while responding to an incident in the community of Inverness on Friday night. According to the police report, shortly after 8 p.m., the constable, who is now in stable condition, was attending a church crusade when he heard loud explosions followed by cries for help. The officer responded and allegedly saw several men engaged in an altercation. There was a subsequent exchange of gunfire, resulting in the officer being injured. He was taken to the hospital where he was admitted. The intended target of the attack was also reportedly injured in the mayhem. He too was admitted to the hospital in stable condition. Commanding officer in charge of the Clarendon Division, Superintendent Shane McCullough, issued a stern warning to the perpetrators to turn themselves in. The full gamut of the Clarendon Division and the Jamaica Constabulary Force will be coming for you, so my advice is to come in and let us resolve this in an amicable way, he said. The Independent Commission of Investigations is probing the matter. Charred remains of 33-year-old man found inside a burnt-out house in Clarendon. The charred remains of a 33-year-old man was discovered by firefighters after his one-bedroom board dwelling was destroyed in an area known as a capture land in Lioneltown, Clarendon. The deceased is suspected to be Kenroy Simpson, a resident of capture land. The police say they were alerted to the blaze by residents about 3:50 a.m. on Saturday. Upon the arrival of the first responders, the house was completely destroyed. Following cooling down operations, the charred remains of a male was found. The body appeared to have a broken right hand. The body was found close to the front door of the house. Assessments by the firefighters pointed to a possible accelerant close to where the body was found. However, the origin of the fire remains unknown. A machete was also seen next to the body. No one else appeared to have been at the home at the time of the fire. The police are probing the incident. 54-year-old woman among 4 arrested for firearm seizure in Manchester. A 54-year-old woman is among 4 people arrested following the seizure of a firearm in Old England, Manchester on Friday. Police said about 3:30 p.m. a search was conducted at a house in Old England where a Taurus pistol with 10 9mm rounds was found. Police said the woman, 2 men, both aged 25, and a third man, aged 20, were taken into custody. Last week, a .38 revolver with 3 9mm rounds and 1.38 rounds was seized at a bus park in Mandeville. Portmore man suspected of committing suicide in his car. The St. Catherine police are investigating a case in which a man is suspected to have killed himself inside his motor car in Helshaw, St. Catherine on Saturday morning. He has been identified as the 35-year-old Ira Roberts of 2 East Greater Portmore in the parish. It is reported that about 4:30 a.m. the deceased car was observed near a bridge in Helshaw. The police were summoned and the checks revealed that the body had what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the forehead. Roberts' licensed firearm was also found inside the vehicle. Investigators are awaiting the outcome of a post-mortem to guide their next steps. Curfews imposed in Dover and Enfield in St. Mary. 48-hour curfews have been imposed in sections of Enfield and Dover in St. Mary. The curfews began at 6 p.m. on Friday and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. Sunday. The boundaries of the curfew in Enfield are north from a section of Itoberil Main Road, vicinity of the National Water Commission pump site, along an imaginary line 458 meters east of the Dry River Bridge. East from the Dry River Bridge, 6,622 meters in a southern direction along an imaginary line to a section of the Enfield community called 41. South from 41 square, 500 meters west along an imaginary line. West from the end of the imaginary line at 41 square, 7,313 meters along an imaginary line, due north to the starting point along the main road in the vicinity of the NWC pump station. The boundaries of the curfew in Dover are north from a section of the Portland and the St. Mary Parish borders along an imaginary line 2,270 meters running in a westerly direction to the intersection of the Epsom and the Dover Main Road. East from the intersection of the Epsom and the Dover Main Road 325 meters in a southerly direction along an imaginary line to a section of the Epsom Main Road. South from a section of Epsom Main Road to the borders of St. Mary and Portland 2,487 meters along an imaginary line. West from Pump House Road 200 meters along an imaginary line to the Portland and the St. Mary border to the northern boundary. During the hours of the curfew, all persons within its boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. Skeng to return to court October in relation to alleged airport altercation. Dancehall entertainer Skeng, who was recently involved in an alleged ruckus at the Norman Manley International Airport, is scheduled to return to the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on October 24. The 21-year-old, whose given name is Kevin Douglas, had his bail extended on charges of disorderly conduct and using abusive and calumnious language arising from an incident at the Kingston Airport on July 8. It is alleged that the entertainer got into an argument with the police after they stopped the driver of the car that went to pick him up at the airport. The police reportedly wanted to speak with the driver about parking. On Friday, when Douglas appeared in court with his lawyer, Chadwick Berry, the court was told that the case file was incomplete. Consequently, Douglas's bail was extended for him to return in October. Attorney-at-law Christopher Townsend is also representing the dancehall artist. Douglas had a similar incident at the airport in 2022, but the charges against him were dismissed last year March. Met Service tracking new tropical disturbance in the Atlantic. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica says it is monitoring an era of disturbed weather over the central tropical Atlantic Ocean that is showing a low potential for developing into a tropical cyclone over the next few days. Located east of the Lesser Antilles, this disturbance is expected to interact with an approaching era of low pressure during the next several days, according to the National Hurricane Center. It says currently there is a 30% chance of the disturbance developing into a tropical depression within the next 7 days. Development of this system is possible while it approaches the Lesser Antilles during the early to middle part of next week and moves generally west-northwestward near or over the Greater Antilles towards the latter part of next week, the NHC says. Should the disturbance grow into a tropical storm, it will be named Debbie. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.